Hello, welcome to the July 1st, 2021 formal meeting of the Phoenix City Council. We will call the meeting to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilwoman Ansari.
Here.
Councilman DeCiccio.
Here.
Councilwoman Guardado. Councilwoman O'Brien.
Here.
Councilwoman Pastor.
Here.
Councilwoman Stark.
Here.
Councilman Waring.
Here.
Vice Mayor Garcia.
Here.
Mayor Gallego.
Thank you so much for joining us. We do have an interpreter with us here today to provide Spanish language interpretation. Elsie, would you please introduce yourself?
Yes, good morning. Thank you, Mayor. As you previously mentioned, my name is Elsie Duarte, and I'll be serving as today's Spanish interpreter. I'll now take this time to introduce myself to the Spanish-speaking audience. Muy buenos días, mi nombre es Elsie Duarte. Yo seré quien les estará facilitando con la interpretación en español el día de hoy. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you so much for your assistance today. Will the city clerk please read the 24-hour paragraph?
The titles of the following ordinance and resolution numbers on the agenda were available to the public at least 24 hours prior to this council meeting and therefore may be read by title or agenda item only. Ordinances numbered G6871 through 6874, S47767, and 47771 through 47833, and resolutions 21936 through 21946.
Thank you so much. I'll next turn to our city attorney. We have an opportunity for the public to provide comment as part of this meeting, and the city attorney will explain that portion of the meeting.
Thank you, Mayor. Members of the public may speak for up to 2 minutes to comment on agenda items to be discussed. Comments must be related to the agenda item and the action being considered by the council. General comments that go beyond the scope of the agenda item must be made during the citizen comment session at the end of the agenda. Speakers must present their comments in a respectful and courteous manner. Profane language and personal attacks on members of the public, council members, or staff are not allowed. A person who violates these rules can lose their opportunity to continue to speak.
Thank you so much. We next move to agenda item number 1, boards and commissions. Vice Mayor, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve Mayor and City Council boards and commission nominations as revised.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Passes unanimously. We next move to the liquor license and license services portion of our meeting today. The City Council is an advisory board. Vice Mayor, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve items 2 through 28, except the items 26 through 28, which will be heard after the omnibus motion. Item 9 is being withdrawn at the request of the applicant, and noting that items 10, 11, 14, 17, 18, and 21 through 24 are as revised.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay? Passes unanimously. We will next go to the omnibus motion. City Clerk, are we ready for ordinances, resolutions, new business, planning, and zoning?
Yes, Mayor.
Vice Mayor, do we have an omnibus motion?
Motion to approve items 29 through 138, except the following. Items 30, 32, 49, 50, 71, 74, 78, 79, 81, 84, 87, 88, 89, 134, 135, 137, and 138. Item 35 has been withdrawn. Item 136 is requested to be continued to August 25th. And excluding these items for public comment, 72, 73, and 122.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call.
Ansari.
Yes.
DeCiccio.
Yes.
Guardado. O'Brien,
Yes.
Pastor,
Yes.
Stark,
Yes.
Waring,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 8-0.
We next move to item 26, which is a liquor license in the Vice Mayor's District. We will begin with comments from Leah Swanton, but License Services Program Manager.
Good morning, Mayor and Council members. I'm Leah Swanton with City Clerk, and with me today is Alexandra Lang with the City Prosecution Office and Officer Kevin Crotty with the Phoenix Police Department. This request is for an acquisition of control of an existing Series 12 liquor license for a restaurant. This location is currently licensed for liquor sales. The 60-day limit for processing this application was February 22nd, 2021. However, the applicant has submitted and been granted 7 written requests for more time. Staff recommends disapproval of this application based on a police department recommendation for disapproval. The police department disapproval is based on a history of noncompliance related to prior liquor licenses held by the applicant, including a failure to meet the required percentage of food sales and the presence of an employee intoxicated while on duty. The applicant has not demonstrated the capability, qualifications, and reliability to hold and control a liquor license.
Thank you so much. We do have 4 members of the public to address the council. We will go to those comments, and then the Vice Mayor for a motion will begin with Jeffrey Miller, agent, followed by Alan Robinson.
Good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. My name is Jeff Miller. I work with Arizona Liquor Industry Consultants. I'm a former investigator with the Department of Liquor. I retired a few years ago before I joined ALIC. And we have the pleasure of working with Mr. Jim Ray at the Golden Margarita. Jim Ray, just to cover a few things, he's a professional chef, classically trained, and has the certificates. Our agency or our company works with Jim for licensing purposes and training. He's one of the only people that has held 4 classes for his employees. We've trained over 100 people for him to make sure they're complying with Title IV. And since he's been involved with Golden Margarita's had 0 violations. And with the Series 12 liquor license, the time that he's been involved with Golden Margarita's performed well, done over the 40% as required by Title IV with the Series 12 license. I've been involved with Jim Ray for many years, and I'm actually impressed in what he's done down there with Golden Margarita, because he's reached out to all the community groups, the neighboring businesses, to partner with them to bring more people down to the area and provide, especially during a time when businesses are affected by COVID and businesses are being closed down. Jim made that decision to step into the Roosevelt Road District, and take the bull by the horns and employ a lot of people that work and live in the city of Phoenix. Jim hired us to create a public safety plan, a security operation manual. It's 22 pages, and not many businesses in the city of Phoenix operate with such a plan. It's the same plan that other cities use and require their businesses to come up with. Jim just brought that into the city to make sure his staff is trained properly and understands what to do in situations. So this public safety plan that he has created is over 22 pages, and it gives them clear.
Alan will be next, followed by Peter.
Hello, my name's Alan Robinson. I was the former owner of Paz Cantina, which was located on that corner of 3rd Street and Roosevelt. Reopened Paz back in 2018, and had quite a few growing pains with the restaurant. It was more of a dream for me versus something that I was really qualified to do. So I struggled quite a bit, invested quite a bit of money, and needed a lot of help. I was introduced to Jim late 2020. I'm sorry, late 2019, early 2020, and had negotiated a sale of the business. COVID happened, which we're all aware of, and Jim still stepped up and came in and, took over the business, did a great job, running the business. He employs 150 people in that neighborhood, has connected with, all the organizations, Evans, Churchill, Roosevelt Row, working with everybody involved to make sure that, he lives up to the standards of the neighborhood. And, if he's very open and willing to, make whatever changes are necessary. He's been great to work with. And, I think he's good for the neighborhood, and I fully support, Jim today. And I think that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Peter will be next, followed by Mark Schreiner.
Hi, my name's, can you hear me? This is Pete Shellstraight. I'm the attorney representing Gem Ray's acquisition control of Series 12. I just would like to point out that Gem Ray is available, but he's with Craig Miller. So if you want to hear from Gem Ray, he's with Craig Miller. You'd have to open up Craig Miller's microphone to have him speak. But the issue here in the acquisition control, the license is already there, is whether Gem Ray is capable, qualified, and reliable. He's got 2 degrees. He's formally trained as a chef from Lake Cordon Bleu. He's been operating at the Golden Margarita now for 8 months. They've had no liquor violations. He's met with the Phoenix PD multiple times. They prepared the public safety plan. He's hired Phoenix PD off duty, who've done a great job there. And he's been monitoring his food sales every month. And as you'll hear from the accountant, they've had, they're averaging 44 to 45% gross food sales there at that location. And as been said, he's attended the neighborhood meetings, and he's been working hard. There were some issues concerning noise a while back. I mean, the recommendation from the police department is about 8 months old, and since then, Gem Ray has done a great job, has had no problems there other than a couple of blips, but those blips were resolved properly. There haven't been, as I said, no liquor violations. And he is capable, qualified, and reliable, and that's what we would ask you to do, to confirm that. Thank you.
Our final comment will be Mark Schreiner.
Hello, City Council members. This is Mark Schreiner. I'm a CPA. I've been licensed in the state of Arizona for 20 plus years. Certificate number 8792R in good standing. My firm, Strategic Execution, has been working with Gem and his restaurants for the last 5 or 6 years. And Gem, from the beginning, even before he got involved with Golden Margarita, every time I talked to him, which was quite often, he totally is focused on food. And I don't know if you've been there, but the food's good, which is one of the reasons why it's been averaging 44 to 45% a month since he's been involved. He's a really good operator. He's really focused on livening up and getting involved with downtown. He's excited about it. I think people are excited about it. They're following him. He's a great guy and is very capable, reliable, and has the qualifications to run that restaurant and provide labor and opportunities for people in that area to be employed. We track food sales on a weekly basis from the POS system, which they use Toast, which is a very reliable system. And he's been, like I said, well above 40% every month since it opened. The beginning, he was right around 40 for the first 2 months, but sales were low. So thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. That concludes public comment. This is in Council District 8. Vice Mayor Garcia.
Motion to disapprove item 26 based on staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and I will turn to Leah briefly. That the motion had everything we need?
Mayor, yes, Mayor.
Perfect. Roll. Any council member comments? Councilwoman Ansari.
I just want to, I'll be supporting the Vice Mayor's motion. Although this is in District 8, the Golden Margarita is right along the border of District 7. And unfortunately, while I recognize the comments that were made in terms of the benefits of the establishment, there has been a significant number of complaints from business leaders, from community leaders about the uncharacteristic nature of the incidents that have been taking place with the Golden Margarita. There's been significant amount of crime, and business leaders have reached out to let us know that in the 20-year history of Roosevelt Row, they've never seen anything like this before. So it's been incredibly challenging, and for that reason, I will be voting in support of this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Roll call.
Ansari,
Yes.
DeCiccio,
Yes.
Guardado,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Pastor, Stark,
Yes.
Waring,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 9-0.
Thank you so much. We next move to item 27, which is related to off-track betting. Item 28 is also related to off-track betting. So for these two items, if anyone would like to make comments related to both cases, we will provide that opportunity. We will begin with comments from Leah Swanton, License Services Program Manager.
Good morning, Mayor and council members. I'm Leah Swanton with City Clerk. This request is for an off-track para mutual wagering permit for a business that has a Series 12 liquor license. State law requires City Council approval before a state off-track para mutual wagering permit can be issued. The city does not issue OTB permits or licenses. However, the city is considered a recommending body. There were no protest or support letters received within the 20-day public comment period from residents within 1/8 mile of the site. Staff recommends approval of this application.
Thank you so much. We do have multiple members of the public to address the council. We'll begin with David Author, agent, followed by Tom Author.
David Author. I yield my time to Tom Author, who is prepared to discuss both of the applications, unless you'd just like us to stick with the first one.
So we are not allowing donation of time while we are meeting remotely, but you are welcome to have 2 minutes each on each item, although I think most council members have had a chance to be briefed on the items. So we will go to Tom.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. This is Tom Author. I am one of the owners of the Arizona Downs horse racing track in Prescott, Arizona. I think it's important to note that both of these off-track betting establishments are currently operating, have been operating, in the case of Padre Murphy's, for 27 years. There's also an existing dog track OTB still operating at Padre Murphy's. Mr. Haney's Castaway's have been operating for, I think, 10 years or so. We do have council approval, staff approval. We don't really. This is a fight between us and Turf Paradise, and we don't really see where the council should necessarily intervene when Racing Commission approval is still required, and we'll need to get that. Some of the intricacies of these arguments are really better suited, I believe, with all due respect, to be put in front of the council. There's been a very frivolous lawsuit placed in front of us. That's going to be dismissed as soon as our lawyers can get to work with it. This is a private business matter. These leases have expired. Both of these came directly to us. We did not hire anybody to encourage either of these parties to breach a contract. We simply offer a better deal for both of these enterprises. and they've opted to go with us. It's baffling to us why a private business matter like this should be looked into by the city council, but we're willing to do whatever needs to be done in order to get this passed. You're liable to hear that Turf Paradise says this will shut them down. Well, that's a constant argument they have. We passed some legislation in February of 2019, and on their website it said, in all the 63 years of our history, Turf Paradise has never faced more. We will shut down if this legislation passes. Well, they've since run 2 meets and have filed for dates already for next year. So, again, both of these have been operating for years. It seems to me that since we have no opposition and the staff has recommended it, there's no reason for the council to not recommend it, and then the Racing Commission can take it up from there. I have no further statement unless somebody would like for me to answer a question.
Thank you. We'll next go to Lawrence Delaney, followed by Joe Jackson.
Yes, hi. My name is Larry Delaney. I'm the owner of one of the owners of Padre Murphy's, and we took over the establishment in November of last year. And at that time, Turf Paradise had the off-track betting horse portion of our OTB, and it was under the it was under the agreement with the prior owner. So after we really did a lot of due diligence, and we've had no issues. Our OTB is I think one of the most popular in the city, and the patrons are incredibly well behaved and valuable to us. And so basically what we're doing is just making a business choice. We have our license, myself and Raymond Sanchez, my partner, have our license from the Racing Commission as OTB owners. So to me, this seems to be just a procedural matter of allowing the Padre Murphy's to continue as the OTB it has for 27 years. So we hope you'll approve this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Joe will be next, followed by Scott Claus.
One moment, Mayor. Joe, are you on the line?
Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Hello?
We can hear you. Please
in?
proceed.
Okay, my name is Joe Jackson. I'm one of the partners with Arizona Downs. I don't have a whole lot to add to what my partner Tom Author previously said. He covered the fact that we went before the city or the city clerk's office. Initially, it was indicated that both of these OTBs have already been approved, and we've gone through the protocol. But the Racing Commission elected to have us go back through and get it approved again, which we did. And as Tom mentioned, we came in with staff approval. I don't see why both of these operations can't just continue to do business the way they've been doing business for so many years. That's all I have to say, unless somebody has questions for me.
Thank you. Scott will be next, followed by Vincent.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council. I do have a brief presentation. I'm not sure if I'm able to share before I start my remarks. If I could be given the ability to share my screen, I would appreciate that. And if not, I'll just go without sharing my screen.
Mayor, this is a city clerk. We don't have that ability at this time.
That's fine, Your Honor. Or Your Honor, I knew that was going to happen. That's fine, Mayor and Council. So you were just asked a rhetorical question: why can't these establishments continue to operate as the way they have done? And the answer to that question is that because they have not operated in contravention of federal and state law in the past, and that is the problem. The Section 3004 of the Interstate Horse Racing Act requires any off-track betting office to obtain the approval of any track operating within 60 miles of that off-track betting facility. That is the requirement of federal law. State law, ARS 5-112, requires all off-track betting offices to comply with the Interstate Horse Racing Act. And so the answer to the rhetorical question is, the reason the council should deny the applications is that granting the applications will allow the licensees to violate both federal and state law. And we understand that the council is not an enforcement agency, but I would offer this hypothetical. If a liquor licensee, a putative liquor licensee came before you and said, if you grant my license, we will sell alcohol to minors. Even though the council is not responsible for enforcing the liquor laws of the state of Arizona, I would hope that the council would deny the application, because granting the application would allow the licensee to serially violate Arizona's liquor laws. The same is true here. If you grant the applications, you will be allowing these licensees to serially violate both federal and state law. And for that reason, we would ask that the council deny the applications for both Padre Murphy's and Haney's. I'll be happy to answer any questions the council has regarding the I.
Thank you so much. David Johnson, followed by Jerry Sims.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, thank you for allowing me this time to speak. You did hear from Tom Arthur, and he said that one of the arguments we would probably bring up is that it would be detrimental to our business. And, you know, that's very true. You know, Turf Paradise has been a horse race track in Phoenix for over 65 years. We employ hundreds of people, and most of them are from the local community. We're home to over 450 horsemen and jockeys who come here from all across the United States and Canada. They bring their families. They rent homes. They eat in our restaurants. They employ more people. Together, before the pandemic, our economic impact to the state was over $91 million. Turf Paradise alone generates over $200,000 in sales tax revenue to the city of Phoenix. Padre Murphy's is 3.7 miles right down the street from Turf Paradise. Approving this application would be detrimental to Turf Paradise and to the lives of everybody who's involved, our employees and to the horsemen that are going to make a living here. So for that sake, for a business that's been in Phoenix for over 65 years, for our employees and all the horsemen, we ask that you deny this application. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Jerry Sims, followed by Vincent Francia.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity, Mayor and City Council, men and women, for allowing me to speak. I can just say that I agree 100% with Scott Claus. Totally accurate. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Vincent.
Mayor Gallego and Council, Vincent Francia. I'm the General Manager of Turf Paradise Race Course. I wish to dispel one notion, the statement that was made that Turf Paradise and Arizona Downs are fighting. That is not an accurate statement. Turf Paradise is located at 19th Avenue and Bell Road in Maricopa County. Yavapai County hosts Arizona Downs in Prescott Valley. However, both tracks are bound to follow federal and state law, and in this case, state law says that an OTB, an off-track betting operation, cannot operate within 60 miles of a racetrack unless consent has been given, and Turf Paradise is not giving its consent. Thank you, Mayor Gallego and Council, for allowing me to speak.
Thank you so much. That concludes public testimony on item 27. It is an application in Councilwoman O'Brien's district, so I will turn to her for a motion.
One moment, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve item number 27.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any council member questions or comments?
Mayor, this is the city clerk. I just wanted to confirm that it's per staff's revised recommendation.
Yes.
Thank you.
Roll call.
Ansari,
Yes.
DeCiccio,
Yes.
Guardado, O'Brien,
Yes.
Pastor, Stark,
Yes.
Waring,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 8-0.
All right, we next turn to item 26, which is in Councilman DeCiccio's district. We do have one additional person to address the council on this item, Mike Field, in support. Mike, the floor is yours.
Hello, my name is Mike Field. I've owned and operated with my family Mr. Haney's Bar for the past 8 years, located at 5110 East McDowell Road in Phoenix. During this time, we have had little calls for service from the Phoenix Police Department, and we are friendly with our neighbors. Over the past 4 years, we've had off-track betting hosted by Turf Paradise, and recently their license was renewed by the state and the city for the off-track betting located at Mr. Haney's. The reason that I'm here today speaking is that Mr. Haney's would like to change the off-track betting companies from Turf Paradise to Arizona Downs. Mr. Haney's dedicates half of our floor space to the patrons of off-track betting. In the past 4 years, Turf Paradise has never paid a penny for rent or anything to cover electricity used by them. Recently, Turf Paradise's lease had ended with Mr. Haney's Bar. After Turf Paradise's lease had ended with Mr. Haney's Bar signed a lease with Arizona Downs. In this lease, Arizona Downs compensates Mr. Haney's Castaway's Bar with a monthly rent and bonuses when the sales are good. Mr. Haney's Bar needs off-track betting to complete the sports theme, and that's why I'm here speaking today. Mr. Haney's Bar asked the mayor and the council to approve the Arizona Downs off-track betting for Mr. Haney's Castaway's Bar location. I thank you for your consideration, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Item 28 is in Council District 6. I will turn to Councilman DeCiccio for a motion.
Thank you, Mayor. Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any council questions or comments? Roll call.
Ansari,
Yes.
DeCiccio,
Yes.
Guardado, O'Brien,
Yes.
Pastor,
Yes.
Stark,
Yes.
Waring,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 8-0.
We next move to item 30, a settlement of a claim. Vice Mayor, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve item 30.
Second.
Any council member comments or questions? Roll call.
Ansari,
Yes.
DeCiccio,
No.
Guardado, O'Brien,
Yes.
Pastor, Stark,
Yes.
Waring,
No.
Garcia,
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 6-2.
We next move to item 32, also a settlement of claim. Vice Mayor?
Motion to approve item 32.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any council member comments or questions? Roll call.
Ansari,
Yes.
DeCiccio,
Yes.
Guardado, O'Brien,
Yes.
Pastor. I apologize. Pastor?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Stark?
Yes.
Waring?
No.
Garcia?
Yes.
Gallego?
Yes.
Passes 7-1.
We next move to item 49, the public hearing on the adoption of the property tax levy for 2021-22. I will open the public hearing. We do not have any members of the public wishing to comment, so I will close the public hearing. Item 50 is the adoption of the property tax levy for 2021-22. Vice Mayor, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve item 50.
Second.
Do we have any council member comments or questions? Roll call.
Ansari?
Yes.
DeCiccio?
No.
Guardado, O'Brien,
Yes.
Pastor, Stark,
Yes.
Waring,
No.
Garcia,
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 6-2.
Thank you. With this vote, we have completed the city's budget process. This vote includes slightly lowering the property tax rate from last year. We next move to item 71, which is TO Nation gaming grants. Vice Mayor, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve item 71.
Second.
Do we have any council member comments or questions?
Mayor?
Councilman DeCiccio.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to thank the TO Nation for being such a great partner to the city of Phoenix. They've always been there. It just shows what gaming does. It not only helps their community, but it also helps others. They're involved in so many of these social programs that they've been able to help the city of Phoenix. And we just really appreciate them. We appreciate everything that they do. And we enjoy being a partner to the TO Nation because they are a nation. And we respect them. And the respect is coming back to us because of what they're doing to help our citizens in our city as well. And this shows how things can actually work, how gaming can work with other communities. And special thanks to them. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. This grant package does include some very important projects, including a project investing in the Maryville community, support for our fire department, as well as nonprofits ranging from Ballet, Arizona to the USO. So I'm looking forward to supporting this item. Any additional comments? Roll call.
Ansari? DeCiccio?
Yes.
Guardado, O'Brien,
Yes.
Pastor, I apologize, Pastor, Councilwoman Pastor, Stark, Stark,
Yes.
thank you. Waring,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
Thank you. Next, we go to item 72, which is adding positions and making other process improvements to address current construction activity levels in the Planning and Development Department. Vice Mayor, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve item 72.
I second it.
A strong second from our former Planning and Development Director, Councilwoman Stark. I'm certainly looking forward to supporting this item. We are growing at quite an impressive pace. At the conclusion of fiscal year 2020-21, planning will have issued approximately 47,000 total construction permits and will have completed 275,000 inspections. That puts us close to the growth we experienced prior to the Great Recession in 2008. And it's very clear that we need to make investments to continue to meet the needs of our community. So I am looking forward to this support, including welcoming our friend Mo Glancy to support the Planning and Development Department. Additional council member comments? Roll call.
Ansari,
Yes.
DeCiccio,
Yes.
Guardado,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Pastor, Stark. Oh, thank you, Councilman
Yes.
Pastor. Waring,
Yes.
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 9-0.
We next move to acquisition of real property, item 73. Vice Mayor, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve item 73.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We do have members of the public to address the council on this item. We'll begin with Devaney Preuss.
Good morning, Mayor and members of Council. My name is Devaney Preuss, President and CEO of Downtown Phoenix, Inc., which is the community building organization for downtown. I'm speaking today in strong support of this item because of the immediate impact it will have to the vibrancy of our downtown community. By relocating employees into the Wells Fargo building, a building we once feared would be vacated and left empty, the city will be activating a large office tower and creating a campus feel in the core of downtown. The move will bring a significant number of new people to our sidewalks and local restaurants, retailers, bars and coffee shops, and at a time when they need the support the most. The city's commitment to office in downtown will help to attract more new businesses into downtown, as well as serve as encouragement for current office tenants to return their businesses to the office place. I must also express my support for police headquarters relocating into the core of downtown. As an organization, we convene and have strong relationships with property owners, business leaders, and community organization leaders in the downtown area, including the police department's downtown operations unit. Public safety is always a top priority of the stakeholders we engage with regularly, but even more so as downtown reopens and recovers from COVID. The police department is an integral partner of ours, and we look forward to having more of our officers participating in the downtown community as new employees in the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll next go to Marissa Leyva, followed by Tara Lohman Rojas.
Marissa, are you there?
All right, we will go to Tara, followed by April McHugh.
Hello. After a year of protests against the most violent cops in the nation, City Council wants to spend $50 million to buy the cops a new headquarters. This is a slap in the face to everyone who has exercised their rights in the streets and in these meetings over the past year. This money should instead be added to the only $10 million the city plans to spend on rent, utility, and mortgage assistance. Put this money in the hands of people, not murderers. City Council is going on vacation next week. They've told us they won't get around to planning how to distribute the $10 million in rent, utility, and mortgage assistance they've set aside, but they do have plenty of time to spend $50 million on a new headquarters for the most violent cops in the nation. This is where City Council's priorities lie. They don't care about the thousands of evictions that are affecting the people of this city. They only care about protecting their violent lapdogs. The city does not have a surplus of property. It has unhoused families and individuals and more who will be unhoused once the moratorium has ended. City Council gets to go home for their summer break. Many of us will have no home. We will lose our few possessions and be exposed to extreme desert heat. Some of us will not survive. Many of us have not. Prioritize people over property. Vote to release funds directly to residents before your break. No new building for police until there is housing for all. In addition, in July, the moratorium on evictions will come to an end. This is the last extension that the government will allow for those of us impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. The city has had ample opportunity to allocate both general and special funds towards a new building as part of the recently approved police budget. Vote to distribute the $10 million in rent and utility and mortgage assistance, or release these funds as direct payments to low-income residents before your break. We just cannot wait. And I yield my time.
April will be next, followed by Helen.
April, are you on the line?
Can you hear me?
Yes, April, please proceed.
Thank you. Hello, my name is April McHugh in zip code 85022. The city does not have a surplus of property. It has unhoused families, individuals, and more who will be unhoused once the moratorium has ended. City Council gets to go home for their summer break. Many of us will have no home. We will lose our few possessions and be exposed to the extreme desert heat. Some of us will not survive. Prioritize people over property. Vote to release these funds directly to residents before your break. No new building for police until there is housing for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Helen, followed by Elizabeth Venable.
Hey, Council, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, Council. I oppose the acquisition of this property to reward the already overbloated police budget. We are still rewarding one of the most deadly police forces in the nation with a $46.5 million building upgrade. It should really be unthinkable that City Council really has this on their plate when just a few days ago, we lost an unsheltered neighbor in the street. And I should also mention that a potential resource was voted down just last February in front of where this neighbor passed. I hope you can sit with that, Council. Community will only be seeing $10 million for rent and utility relief as we still struggle through the pandemic. We cannot continue to reward a police department that has sergeants found to be engaged in egregious misconduct by judges. A department who is currently under multiple investigations cannot be rewarded with a new building for headquarters. Council, I hope you find it in yourselves to vote no. I yield the rest of my time.
Elizabeth is next, followed by Hannah Heyman.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I would like to say that it seems that the city of Phoenix always invests in police more than community in the general fund, and now in creating a new police headquarters for one of the deadliest police forces in the nation. We are reaching a peak where the moratorium on evictions will end. We need to utilize these funds for real human needs, and we don't have excess property to donate to, again, one of the deadliest police forces in the nation. We need true reform and not more honor to the profession. Thank you.
Hannah will be our final speaker on this item.
Notice how each of these elected representatives turn off their cameras when public comment begins. Thank you all for that, for showing your true purpose here, which is not to listen to us, but only to protect the interests of the businesses that profit off of us. and to enable the most violent police in the nation to continue their vicious campaign. Thank you for showing you listened to public comments by approving this before public comment even began. And let's be clear, with the city budget in the billions and an almost $1 billion police budget every year, in a year when the city got a $200 million gift from the federal government, where they only allocated $10 million of that for rent and utility relief, this is not about saving money. It's about pledging allegiance to anti-Black violence. So when Ed and the council make a big deal about this, they are really saying that they have time to comb through the city for real estate deals for the cops at 911, but it's more important for them to take their July vacation than to figure out how to equitably distribute the $10 million they've set aside for rent and utility relief. But saving the cops in 911, the barest fraction of their budget, is more important to them than doing more than thinking about providing heat relief to our unsheltered neighbors who are suffering and dying in the zone. But they don't care about the thousands of people facing eviction when the CDC moratorium ends. I have no doubt the city cares more about supposedly saving money than they do about the lives we've lost to police murders. Every single person here on council displays their violent anti-Blackness publicly at these meetings, every single time. No matter what we say here, City Council will always be anti-Black. Anti-Blackness is mandated by the city charter. Violence against Indigenous people is a given in a city built on genocide. Our liberation is in our own hands. No one here on council will help us. It's on us to build relationships with our neighbors, to create systems of mutual aid so we can provide necessities to each other without relying on council to give us back the money they've stolen from us, to protect each other from the cops who come into our neighborhoods to kidnap us and to murder our Black neighbors. It's on us.
That concludes public comment. Council member questions or comments? Roll call.
Mayor? Oh, that's fine.
Councilman DeCiccio, please go ahead.
And I could have just done it with the explanation of those, but I'll be voting against this. And I would normally have supported something like this, and I've had conversations with staff on it too. Whenever you purchase an asset, I think city staff's getting a great deal on this property, and I think it's a great use. But at the same time, you have to be fiscally responsible. And one of the plans set forth was to sell off other properties in order to pay for this property rather than to go into debt. And just adding more debt is only going to create a problem, just like the pensions that we've had in the problem in the past, is that these debts will then take away monies that will go to the public. So you've got to do things. Everybody wants everything, I get it. But at sometimes you've got to make decisions, and those decisions would be to sell off the assets. So if we had a clear delineation of which assets we were going to sell and the directions we would be going in to be able to sell off those assets, I'd be happy to support this. But the way it's structured right now, until there's some firm plan in place, then I'm not going to be able to support it. But once there is, I'd be happy to come on board. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman DeCiccio. Any additional council member comments? Councilwoman Pastor.
This question is for the city manager. My question to you is, what was the thought process or the intent in purchasing this building? Because what I understand is the intent is that we are consolidating several departments to be able to occupy this building.
Mayor, excuse me, Mayor, Councilman Pastor, that is correct. The Wells Fargo Tower, 100 West Washington, sits directly adjacent to City Hall and provides us an opportunity to consolidate downtown operations further. And that would include our transit operations, our workforce development site. Perhaps we are experiencing growth in our development services area. As you just approved some positions today, we have some need for that, as well as it does allow us to avoid a substantial multi-hundred millions of dollar investment that would be necessary to replace our obsolete police headquarters. But it is further than that, and in the most immediate term, it also provides a space to upgrade our 911 call center from two spaces, including one in the basement of 620 West Washington, into a new and modern space at 100 West Washington.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor followed by Councilwoman Ansari.
You answered my question, Ed, but just kind of a follow-up. What status is the police headquarters in right now? And what was the plan if this opportunity didn't come about? And then I guess, first of all, is the police headquarters in this building a for sure thing? Or is that still an option? First question, sorry.
There's two things there. So 3 years ago, 3 and almost 4 years ago, the city went through an exercise of what were the needs in our public safety areas. One of the greatest needs, in addition to some fire stations and other equipment, was that our current Phoenix Police Headquarters building is 50 years old, and it is extremely undersized and has almost 29,000 square feet that is unusable because of water penetration and other things. So at that time, staff did estimates for the council that to replace that headquarters building with a modern facility that would be acceptable could be as much as $300 to $350 million. Clearly, that is a number that is that takes up a whole bunch of capacity for the city. So it's something that we had not been able to pursue. Even to just rehabilitate that existing building to its optimum condition, we estimated would be about $50 million, and that would not provide any additional space for the police department, which has grown significantly since 1970 when the building was opened. So this opportunity of the Wells Fargo building is now, as you see on the agenda, at $46.5 million, which is less expensive to buy that building than it is to bring the existing police building up to a good standard, and it provides room for things such as a consolidated modern 911 center. It allows us to consolidate our downtown facilities in other departments, as I mentioned. We have a workforce development and transit operations that are located off-site. We have development services located off-site, and this provides an opportunity to consolidate all those activities into one building directly adjacent to City Hall.
So,
Councilwoman, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll just make some comments, Mayor. I shared some of the concerns from the callers, but I also see how this property and acquiring this property allows us as a city to determine the needs of the city and to be able to make sure that whatever's going to happen there is comparable to the needs and wants of our city. I guess it's my understanding that before it would become a police headquarters, before it would become anything else, you'd still have to go through a process and come speak to us and figure out what's going to go there, including an option of, if it doesn't work out for us, we would even be able to resell and maybe create revenue or make sure that whatever happens there, if it's affordable housing, whatever it could be, would be a determination we could still make as a council. Is that correct?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, yes, the council does have the authority for, once we own the building, to do whatever it directs with the building, including the options that you mentioned. Yes, that is the council's authority.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Ansari.
Thank you, Mayor. I actually had the same questions as the Vice Mayor, but very helpful to hear Ed's explanation as to the conditions that the 911 operators are currently working in. I haven't had the opportunity in the 2 months or so that I've started to see it myself, but I've heard, and as the city manager explained, that the conditions are not appropriate for anyone to be working in, and I will be supporting this because the solution is firstly the most fiscally responsible option that we have, given the comparison and pricing that we heard if we were to rehabilitate the current police headquarters and 911 operations center, or purchase another building altogether. So it is the most fiscally responsible and the fastest way we can get these men and women into better working conditions. So that's great. I did just want to address the some of the comments that were brought up by the public around the rent and utility assistance, and just emphasize that this is, of course, a separate issue, but definitely not one that any of us are sleeping on. Myself, and I know several other council members have done this as well, have sat down with city staff, the city manager, as recently as yesterday, and had productive conversations around really figuring out how to get this money out as fast as possible into people's hands. While we technically don't have any formal council meetings in July, I can assure you, at least from my side, we are working on this, and we'll be making sure and following up, because we do recognize that with the eviction moratorium coming up, it is incredibly important to get aid into the hands of people. So just wanted to address that as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Mayor, Councilwoman Ansari, if I could just amplify a little bit of the Councilwoman's comments about the fiscal responsibility of this. The price we're purchasing the facility at is roughly $90 a square foot. In talking to our economic development director, our convention center director, and downtown business people who actually do real estate as well, the current price to build new space comparable would be well over $300 a foot. So we're getting this for less than 30 cents on the dollar of what it would cost us to build new. So I appreciate Councilman Ansari, you bring up the idea that this is a fiscally responsible move by the council as we seek to have enough space and the right space in the right place for our employees. We're doing it in what I believe is the most fiscally responsible manner possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Pastor.
So I want to thank staff for really doing their due diligence and in really looking at this building and giving us an understanding what the fiscally, what a great price it's at, so that we can do the things that we need to do to consolidate our departments. The building that we own, where the police headquarters is located, has a lot of needs, and it would cost more for us to renovate it and be able to get it to the standards that we need to get it, in particular with infrastructure of the 911 call center. And I believe that all our colleagues have been, through these discussions, have been looking at the fiscally looking at it in the sense of how solid we can do this, and if we can do this, how we do this. And so I commend my colleagues and staff for really answering some tough questions with the council. The bottom line is that we need to really move our 911 operators into a sound building along with everybody else, and consolidate our transportation area and even other departments that are needed into this building, so it's a sound purchase. What I would like, because I think there needs to be some clarity on what it would cost, and I know that I just want to repeat some of the numbers of what it would cost to renovate any of our buildings, and what the purchase of this building is going to do for us and alleviate some dollars. So either the budget or Ed, you can answer that question.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, Councilwoman Pastor. Just to your point, our estimates of, when we did estimates of rehabilitating the 620 West Washington building, the current police headquarters, was at least $50 million. Now, that's more to rehabilitate that facility than it is to purchase the Wells Fargo 100 West Washington Tower. But I would add, in addition, it doesn't give you any more space at 620 West Washington than you already have. So again, you're buying a facility for roughly 25 to 30 cents on the dollar, and giving yourself options, as you say, Councilman, to consolidate operations, and particularly we're going to start with our 911 call center.
Thank you.
Thank you. Roll call.
Ansari,
Yes.
DeCiccio,
No.
Guardado,
Mayor, can I explain my vote?
Please do.
And so I'm gonna be supporting this item. I know that when I first came into office, one of the first places that I toured, and this is all pre-pandemic, was the 911 operators facilities. And we've had many, and I don't want to repeat a lot what my colleagues have said, but I do want to continue to emphasize that we do need to find a new home for them. And it's exciting that we are in the middle of a bunch of interviews and bringing a lot of new people in, and it's an issue that a lot of our constituents have been talking to us about. And I'm excited to see what will happen with this, when we will be able to place our 911 operators here. I understand, and I'm listening to everyone that has called in, and we're definitely trying to figure out a lot of these issues and trying to get the money out promptly for people that are in need of that money. But today I am going to be supportive of this item, and I'll be voting yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Pastor, Stark,
Yes.
Waring,
No.
Garcia,
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 7-2.
We next move to item 74, issuance of obligations for acquisition, construction, and improvement of municipal facilities. Vice Mayor, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve item 74.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Roll call.
Ansari,
Yes.
DeCiccio,
No.
Guardado,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Pastor, Stark,
Yes.
Waring,
No.
Garcia,
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 7-2.
We next move to item 78, contract with Human Services Campus for Sprung Structure Project. I'll turn to the Vice Mayor.
Motion to approve item 78.
Second.
Councilmember comments? Councilwoman Ansari.
Thank you, Mayor. Very supportive of this. We know that heat-related deaths are on the rise, and extreme heat is a silent killer in our community and across the country. 9 deaths have been confirmed, but 75 are under investigation, and these deaths will continue to rise until mitigation efforts like this sprung structure are prioritized and quickly installed. I'm really happy that there is an allocation within our ARPA funds dedicated to addressing heat relief and homelessness. And I'm committing to continue working with city staff to make sure that we provide immediate heat relief. So happy to see this going through. I do just want to continue emphasizing that there are more actions that we can take right now for immediate heat relief, whether that's an opportunity to provide cold water, adding shade. Yesterday, had a very productive conversation with city staff about potentially utilizing some buses that could go around and provide cooling and also provide water to the unsheltered community. And my office is also currently working on setting up a meeting with the county so that we can discuss partnerships between the city and the county to provide more solutions for the area. So thank you so much to city staff for doing this. The only other thing that I would push for, I know in our packet, it talks about this being installed by September 30th of this year. And just given the urgency of the situation, if there's any way to expedite that and have this installed any earlier, I think that would be fantastic. But thank you again for the work that you're doing.
Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I think this sprung structure is a good investment for the future, but I think we're agree with a lot of what Councilwoman Ansari was saying. It just isn't enough to prevent some of the deaths that we know are still going to come this summer. We know that August 1st, the eviction moratorium will be coming off. And so we're expecting a lot more folks to be unsheltered here really soon and in the month of August. From the numbers we've seen, there's already been a 40% increase in death of those living unhoused since this time last year. I strongly believe those were preventable deaths. They weren't just a consequence of extreme weather, although that's a reality, but it's also a result of us failing to act quicker and set better policy on our part. I believe it's our duty as a city to make sure every resident is housed and can be sheltered from these extreme weather events. Recently took a tour to LA and been looking at other cities. It's about us making the decision to invest and making sure more people are housed. The summers here are only going to get hotter. Our affordable housing shortage is an issue we are tackling, but again, I feel we need to prioritize even more. I think we need to build on this investment. Like Councilwoman Ansari said, this investment is on the right path, but coming in September is frustrating, knowing that people are suffering because the structure isn't up yet. We need to find a way to invest in more permanent regional heat relief infrastructure. I know the heat office that's coming is going to be helpful and they're going to prioritize that. I think it's making sure that that office has the funds to implement and take care of folks without shelter and the people in Phoenix. Last thing I would say, in an immediate path, I know some cities around us are working with organizations, churches, other folks to do immediate heat relief. Obviously, last year we had the luxury of being able to use the convention center. We're not doing that this year. And so I would ask staff, if possible, in the next month or so, or until this structure is up, that we continue to work on the plan we have to support people without shelter as much as possible and those suffering in the heat. I will be supporting this structure because I think it's important and it's a good first step and a good investment, but we still need to focus on the folks that are going to be losing their lives in the next couple of months that maybe we could have prevented. Thank you.
Mayor and Vice Mayor, if I might, and Councilman Ansari, thank you for those comments. It's important to note that in the interim, while we are getting your authorization to purchase the sprung structure, that we have funded and is in place a shaded tent structure on the Human Services campus that also has cooling. So we do have that in place until the sprung structure can be constructed. And to Councilwoman Ansari's question, hopefully without running into supply chain issues or anything, we are committed to getting that sprung structure constructed as quickly as possible, and we'll do everything we can to get it done before the goal of September 30th.
Councilwoman Pastor.
Ed, I'm glad to hear that, but as you know how in many ways I operate, the need is now and today. By the end of September, we will have more. And my question or comment is, I would ask the maker of the motion, I would like to put a stipulation on the motion, and that this sprung structure be up ASAP, which means before September, and do whatever's possible to make that happen. The other thing I would like to add in a stipulation is to have a immediate heat relief plan for the month of July and August and September, and it be then distributed to the council by next week, which I will give a date. July 9th. So I'm asking the maker of the motion if I can add that stipulation.
Who was the maker of the motion?
The Vice Mayor.
Vice Mayor?
Can you repeat it, please?
I am asking for staff to provide us with a immediate heat relief plan for July, August, and September. In the stipulation for the for the structure to be built sooner than later, before September 30th.
So it's my understanding, Ed, that there's already a heat plan, and I know we don't have time, today's our last meeting, but to me, it would be, I didn't think about adding this to this, but it would be more like stepping up the heat plan that already exists, or increasing what's already there, rather than just seeing the plan again, because I know the plan already exists. Is that true, Ed?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Councilman Pastor, yes, that's true, Vice Mayor. There is a heat plan. It has been implemented. It is underway. We are working with our partners in the Red Cross, Salvation Army, and many other partners on a heat relief plan with cooling centers. So yes, we can do two things. One is we can circulate again that heat plan. We can also, as you suggest, add other ideas that have come to us here along the way in the summer, and one of those would include a discussion of what Councilman Ansari mentioned, which was the ability to potentially use city buses on extreme heat days as mobile cooling centers. We have done that in the past, and we are currently looking at that again, so we can add those. I would just say we can't put the sprung structure up any faster than we can get it in and get it put together, and it does take some time. So I don't want to promise something that I can't deliver, and I am not sure that we can deliver something sooner than September 30th, not because the will isn't there, but because it just physically may not be possible to have it. But understanding the Councilwoman's direction is to cut through all the red tape possible and break through any barriers possible to get that structure up as soon as possible. Absolutely, we will commit that.
And so, so understanding there's already a plan, I think to me, rather than seeing it again or being circulated, would it be easier, Ed, if we just say, yes, do the buses, yes, work with churches, organizations, or whoever you can to provide heat relief immediately, without, I don't know how much that would cost or what that would look like, and I know it's hard and we're kind of making it as we go along here, but I'd prefer to have some tangible things like say, yes, on days over 100 and whatever degrees, 5 or 10, we're going to use buses and we're going to partner with folks and make sure they have the resources to provide heat relief. I'd rather do that and have that authority given now than have to wait for a plan. So I don't know where we go from here.
Understood, Vice Mayor. And the council has given us some flexibility in the fact that you have a heat relief section of the ARPA money, but also there's contingency funds within the ARPA plan that we can draw from to implement this. It sounds to me that a significant number of the council, if not the majority, is very concerned about stepping up our heat response efforts, so we can draw on ARPA funds to do any of these things that we're discussing here to enhance our heat relief plan through, as Councilman Pastor requested, July, August, and September.
That's exactly, you articulated what I would like, Vice Mayor Garcia. I didn't necessarily want a plan, I wanted action, so thank you.
So does that mean you would like to add an amendment that adds some money or directive that we do that? Or how? Or do I go back and add it in my motion?
I think, Vice Mayor, if your motion included authority for us to tap into the contingency in the first round of ARPA funds, and we'll keep you updated on what that is, that would give us sufficient authority to work over the summer on this effort.
So, motion to approve, I guess, item 78 adding that staff can use the contingency fund from the ARPA to address heat relief immediately.
Second.
Thank you both. We'll go to Councilwoman O'Brien.
Thank you, Mayor, and I echo my fellow council members' desires to ensure that we are offering as many services to folks during our heat wave, or when we have higher heat days. We have a heat wave all summer long. I have I guess a question regarding procedures, and are we able to legally make that addition of expenditures as part of this motion?
So is that a question for our city attorney about open meeting law?
Yes.
Yes. I would just, from a budgetary perspective, there is appropriation authority that already exists with the budget that took effect today, Councilman O'Brien, for us to expend those funds. We do have, staff has let me know we have about $450,000 remaining in current non-ARPA funding for our heat relief program, which we would of course use first. And if there are things that we need to go to after that, we could go to the ARPA funds through the contingency which has been appropriated. I'll ask Chris if there's anything further to add.
Mayor, members of the council, the item is generally about heat relief and providing a structure to do that. So for council to provide direction to do that would be permissible under the open meeting law. We couldn't impose restrictions on the contract or other provisions on the contract under this, but to give the direction for staff to do that with money that's already been authorized would be permissible in the scope of this item.
Thank you so much for that clarification. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And important to note as well, with our action earlier today, we are moving forward with our budget, which includes a first in the nation Office of Heat Response and Mitigation, and will help us as well as we continue to think strategically about how to respond to the heat, including helping vulnerable populations. With that, we will move to roll call on the Vice Mayor's motion.
Ansari?
Yes.
DeCiccio?
Yes.
Guardado?
Yes.
O'Brien?
Yes.
Pastor?
Yes.
Stark?
Yes.
Waring?
Yes.
Garcia?
Yes.
Gallego?
Yes.
Passes 9-0.
We next move to item 79, which is the Arts and Culture Recovery Program. Vice Mayor, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve item 79.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? This is an exciting item to me that complements two items on which we took action in the omnibus. We have a small business investments we're making, as well as our resilient food system program. So we are continuing some of the great successes of our CARES Act dollars and really investing in our community. This one is $5 million to help our arts and culture organizations. Phoenix is an arts and culture town, and our arts and culture organizations are an important part of our economy, as well as creating the wonderful city in which we live. So look forward to supporting this item. Council member comments or questions? Roll call.
Ansari?
Yes.
DeCiccio?
No.
Guardado?
Yes.
O'Brien?
Yes.
Pastor?
Yes.
Stark?
Yes.
Waring?
No.
Garcia?
Yes.
Gallego?
Yes.
Passes 7-2.
We next move to item 81, which is continuing our partnership with Cahoots to support our small businesses. Vice Mayor.
Motion to approve item 81.
Second.
Any questions or comments on the small business support? Again, another good news item as our small businesses recover from the challenges they have faced. Roll call.
Ansari,
Yes.
DeCiccio,
No.
Guardado,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Pastor,
Yes.
Stark,
Yes.
Waring,
No.
Garcia,
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 7-2.
We next move to item 84, CDBG CARES Act Homeless Shelter Expansion. I'll turn to Councilwoman Guardado for a motion.
Thank you, Mayor. So I would like to approve item 84 and direct staff to include in the contracts a requirement that the awarded agencies develop advisory committees with at least 50% community member representation that must be pre-approved by city staff. The advisory committees should meet regularly, beginning as soon as possible and throughout the life of the grant liens. Since the proposed facility by CAS is required to go through a public hearing to have a use permit granted for the proposed use, I also direct that prior to the public hearing, CAS, with the support of the city staff, have community meetings to discuss the proposal, and that if the use permit is approved, some type of public review of the use permit shall be required.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We do have 3 members of the public to address the council, so I'll go to public comments and then council member questions or comments. We'll begin with Elizabeth DaCosta, followed by Craig Tripkin.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Mayor and Council. I am Elizabeth DaCosta, Senior Director of Housing and Community Integration with Community Bridges. Community Bridges' specialized bridge shelters bring safe, stable shelter services to the communities that they serve. We have standardized shelter protocols providing behavioral health technicians who are trained by licensed clinical staff to ensure the shelter services provide whole health services to individuals residing in them. This includes access to physical health services, mental health services, substance use treatment, while simultaneously helping people move out of homelessness and into housing. In one of our first years providing these bridge shelter services, we served 168 individuals. 145 of them had been experiencing chronic homelessness. 74% of those individuals were able to exit to permanent housing, and their length of stay in these specialized shelters was only 38 days. In addition to our shelter services, CBI provides extensive outreach throughout the city of Phoenix. Through these outreach efforts, we have found it would be beneficial to expand specialized bridge shelter services to the Northwest Phoenix area. There are individuals experiencing long-term homelessness in this area who have experienced a deep sense of community, who also often go to school or have family members living in the area. They find it challenging to access shelter services due to the distance from where they're currently at. CBI seeks to add shelter capacity to this area to focus on serving individuals in and around the Northwest Phoenix area who are currently sleeping on the streets. We want to help facilitate their voluntary movement indoors, connect them to these trained staff, and then help them move from the streets into housing. In addition, this will be a long-term service that can continue to provide heat relief for those areas for the people that are residing in that shelter. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Craig will be next, followed by Nick Wood.
Mayor, can you hear me? I'm having trouble getting on.
We can hear you.
All right. I just want to first thank you very much. Staff has been wonderful to work with on this and really help us to think through the best way to do this. The neighborhood involvement that the councilwoman suggested is going to be vital if we're going to be successful with any shelter outside of downtown Phoenix at this point. We like to think this is a sort of a benign model, which will be a closed campus. And based on the lessons that we've learned at Project Haven, we feel very comfortable that we are going to want to have ongoing neighborhood input, because that's the only way we're going to replicate anything in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Nick will be our final speaker on this item.
Mayor, members of the council, Nick Wood, Snell and Wilmer 1, Arizona Center, Phoenix. I've been outside pro bono counsel for CAS for well over 10 years. This, of course, this money can be used to create really a pathway for our unsheltered Phoenix residents, who, of course, are growing at an alarming rate. Allows for interim housing with a pathway toward permanent housing. It's something that we've been hoping for and looking forward to for a long time. We spoke yesterday about Councilwoman Guardado's recommendation and request regarding a committee and participation with the community, and we're very supportive of that. We think that's a great idea. So with that, we really hope that the City Council will support this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to Councilwoman Stark.
Thank you. I am very grateful for this money. I will tell you, for probably about a year, District 1, District 5, and District 3 have been meeting with nonprofits in the community, trying to find locations to serve people experiencing homelessness. And one of the biggest hurdles has been money, funding. And so now we have a source for that. I also agree that the community involvement is very important. I hope that we can also have involvement from some of the other nonprofits as they go through this review. They might have something to add. And then lastly, just a question, and I certainly support the review of a use permit. I just want to make sure that, because we don't have jurisdiction over the Board of Adjustment, can we make that a part of the motion? I like the idea. I just want to make sure legally we can do that. Thank you.
Mayor, Councilman Stark, Planning and Development Director Alan Stevenson is here, and he can answer that specific question.
Okay.
Alan?
Thank you.
Mayor, Councilwoman Stark, what the motion is doing is providing direction to staff and ultimately to the hearing officer that we will request that stipulation. You are correct that a use permit goes through a quasi-judicial hearing process, which is zoning adjustment hearing officer, the Board of Adjustment, and ultimately to court. However, when I did discuss this with Councilwoman Guardado, we talked about the fact that we want to put it out there now to express the intent of the council via the public hearing process, because she just wants to ensure that the surrounding community is included on any additional reviews that may happen in the future.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure we were on point with that. I think it's a great idea, and it is great direction. So thank you. I'll be supporting the motion.
Thank you, Councilwoman Stark. We'll go to Councilwoman Guardado.
Thank you, Mayor. And as many of you know, I serve on the Westmark board and have been focused on building support for more regional services with my fellow board members. I have taken so many of our neighbors to the west on tours of Project Haven that I have now lost track. Lisa Glow jokes with me and says that if I'm looking for a part-time job, she can actually give me one and I could do the tours for people that are curious what Project Haven is. Just a couple of weeks ago, I went with Vice Mayor Garcia and city management out to Los Angeles to meet with different service providers. I think we can take away a lot from their lessons learned as we continue to craft solutions that are uniquely fit for the Phoenix and the larger region. We have also been excited to have an open dialogue at the state level with housing staff that have city perspectives. People like Tom Simplot and Cindy Stutler know our struggles and seem to be ready to find real long-term solutions. I hope with today's funding, we can send a message that we are ready to be part of the solution and set an example for our neighbors. And with that, I'm excited to be able to support this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. The council has been working so hard to make sure we have housing opportunities throughout the city, and we really appreciate your leadership as well as our colleagues' leadership. Roll call.
Ansari?
Yes.
DeCiccio?
Yes.
Guardado?
Yes.
O'Brien?
Yes.
Pastor? Thank you. Stark?
Yes.
Waring?
Yes.
Garcia?
Yes.
Gallego?
Yes.
Passes 9-0.
We next move to item 87, the 2021-22 Community Arts Grants. Vice Mayor.
Motion to approve item 87.
Certainly looking forward to supporting this one. It includes support for institutions from the symphony to the zoo, all the way to some of our smaller arts organizations from Chico to Alwyn House. And this is just a good news item every year. Additional comments? Roll call.
Ansari?
Yes.
DeCiccio?
Yes.
Guardado?
Yes.
O'Brien?
Yes.
Pastor?
Yes.
Stark?
Yes.
Waring?
No.
Garcia?
Yes.
Gallego?
Yes.
Passes 8-1.
Items 88 and 89 are both related to the city's golf program, so unless any council members have concerns, we will take them together. Vice Mayor, do you have a motion on 88 and 89?
Motion to approve item 88 and 89.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? Roll call.
Ansari?
Yes.
DeCiccio?
No.
Guardado?
Yes.
O'Brien?
Yes.
Pastor? Stark?
Yes.
Waring?
No.
Garcia?
Yes.
Gallego? Passes 7-2.
Item 122 is a final plat at Baseline and 67th Avenue in Council District 7. We do have a member of the public, Mark Rodriguez, to address the council before I turn to Councilwoman Ansari. Mark, the floor is yours.
Hello, Mayor Kate Gallego, Mayor KG, and members of the PHXCC Phoenix City Council. How are you doing this morning?
Hey, we're great, Mark.
It's good to see you, Mayor. It's because I see you yesterday, even though I live on 67th Avenue and Baseline, even though right next to 75th Avenue and Baseline, because my mom was thinking about this is going to be a storage, is going to be all the storage, and the Walgreens is going to be at 67th Avenue and Baseline, is all that stuff, because my mom just heard about it, because I know she's thinking about this and all that stuff, and all that other type of things that she showed me the phones on the buildings and all that stuff over there in Baseline. It's because I also like that, because we're getting more stores and all that stuff in this area. And I also want to give a shout out to all of the youth, Phoenix City Council, everybody except Sal DeCiccio, which I'm still not a fan of him, but I respect to that, and I will always respect to you, Mayor Kate Gallego. And I'm happy you waved at me yesterday. It's because I just wanted to see you one day, and all that, because I'm having fun with you, Mayor. And of course, Yasmin Ansari and Laura Pastor were there. It's because I saw them, because it's kind of nice to see them too again, because I'm having fun with you, talking with you, Mayor Kate Gallego, even though this is the last meeting before the break, because I was just trying to talk to you guys, because I just wanted to say good morning to all of you, because I'm just having fun. I'm just having great, and I'm just having a good time with you, Mayor Kate Gallego, and the members of the city council, except Sal DeCiccio, which I'm still not a fan of him again, because it's having fun with you. And I wish you give me a shout out and give me like questions and all that, because I wanted to say hi to you guys. And well, you're kind of busy, because have a great day. Looks like Team Rock is blasting off again. Happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July, Mark. Councilwoman Ansari.
Thanks, Mark. We always love having you on. Thanks for joining. I move to approve item 122.
Second.
Comments or questions? Roll call.
Ansari,
Yes.
DeCiccio,
Yes.
Guardado,
Yes.
O'Brien, Pastor,
Yes.
Stark,
Yes.
Waring,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Gallego. Passes 9-0.
We next move to item 134, the northwest corner of 36th Street and Wayland Drive. It is a companion to item 135. Both items are in District 8. I will open the public hearing. We do have one member to comment on the applicant, Ben Tate representing the applicant, and that is our only comment on these items. Mr. Tate.
Good morning, Mayor, members of the council. I'll be remiss if I didn't say go Suns in light of last night's events as a City of Phoenix second generation native. I am available to answer any questions if you have any. We've been fortunate to have staff support on both of these items along with unanimous recommendations of approval both from the South Mountain Village Planning Committee and the Planning Commission. So we'd be delighted to have your support, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. Unanimous support at the South Mountain Village is an impressive accomplishment. I will close the public hearing. Vice Mayor, this is in your district. I will turn to you.
That was an understatement, Mayor. Motion to approve items 134 and 135.
And if it's okay with you, if we could just do 134 first.
Okay. Motion to approve item 134.
Mayor,
And per the
Vice
Planning
Mayor,
Commission,
Yeah, I'll second with the per Planning Commission approval and adopt the related resolution.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
No problem.
all right. So then we will do roll call on the Vice Mayor's motion to approve per Planning Commission's approval and adopt the related resolution.
Ansari,
Yes.
DeCiccio,
Yes.
Guardado,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Pastor, Stark,
Yes.
Waring, Garcia,
Yes.
Gallego. Passes 9-0.
The unanimous approval continues. Item 135, Vice Mayor.
Motion to approve item 135 per Planning Commission's approval and adopt the related ordinance.
Second.
Any comments? Roll call.
Ansari,
Yes.
DeCiccio,
Yes.
Guardado,
Yes.
O'Brien, Pastor, Stark,
Yes.
Waring,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Gallego. Passes 9-0.
We next move to item 137, the southeast corner of I-17 and Arroyo Norte Drive. We'll begin with a brief introduction from our Planning and Development Director.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. Item 137 is a appeal of a planning hearing officer decision, and Mr. Josh Bednarik is here to give a quick staff presentation on this item.
Mayor, members of the council, the subject site in question, I'll pull it up here, is located in the Rio Vista Village. It's located just north from a context standpoint of the Anthem Way interchange and a bit further south of the New River interchange. The subject property of this request is actually 16 acres of a much larger 46-acre site that was rezoned to C2 in 2007. The subject zoning of the site C2 is not the subject of this request. The C2 zoning was approved in 2007 without any site plan or elevations, but there were conditions associated with that approval that required site plan and elevations for any development to come back through the public hearing process. The request before you addresses those stipulations. Here's a zoomed in aerial of the subject site. To the east and to the south of the subject property is residential development in Maricopa County. Again, the proposal is to approve the submitted site plan and elevations, update another stipulation that requires a comprehensive sign plan that was really only meant for any commercial portions of the site, and make some technical corrections to stipulations 3 and 7. This is a snapshot of the site plan for the proposal. It's 170 single-story bungalow units. Multifamily, here's the snapshot of the elevations. The request was approved by the Rio Vista Village in March 4-2, the planning hearing officer in April, and then the Planning Commission in June. Staff does recommend approval and adoption of the related ordinance per the Planning Commission recommendation. Mayor, that concludes my presentation. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much for that presentation. Any questions before we move to public comment? All right. I will open the public hearing. We do have 3 members of the public to address the council. We will begin with the representative, followed by the appellant. So Dave Krzyzewski, followed by Richard Zimmerman.
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of the council. David Krzyzewski, 11811 North Tatum, Suite 1051, Phoenix, Arizona, on behalf of FDG Acquisitions, the developer of the proposed project. I do have a short PowerPoint presentation. If staff could pull that up, I'll try to go through this very quickly and really just try to hit some highlights of the discussions through this process, and changes in the application, and really the nature of the application that's before you. Wait for, there we go. Thank you. And again, just to go through this quickly, and staff, if we could jump to like slide 4 would be great. There we go. Again, is in front of you, Josh had put up a snapshot of the development, but what is proposed here on this 16-acre portion of the larger commercially zoned tract is a proposed development for 170 detached residences. This will be a gated community. Each of the residences will have a private rear yard. There will be both covered parking and garages available. This is proposed as a single-family rental community. As you'll see here on this plan, on the next plan, we have provided a number of parks and community areas as well as walking trails through the development. Next slide, please. Again, just a bit of a zoomed in view of the proposed development. You'll notice 2 drives, again, both gated off of the city public street to the north, which is the Aurora Norte Drive. And you'll notice a loop road throughout the community. Orientation of the residences, as you'll see in the yellow or orange building, are the individual residences. Again, noting each will have a private rear yard, a large community area in the center featuring a pool, spa, cabana areas, large grass areas in the center, as well as other smaller parks throughout, one at the upper right-hand side and the lower left-hand side, again, to really service the community well in terms of open space. The other thing I wanted to point out here quickly is the parking arrangement. Unlike many rental communities that have large open areas of all parking, you'll notice the parking here is well dispersed throughout the area. It is flanked by green spaces, and so you get a real soft approach to the overall development in terms of overall open space and overall community areas. Next slide, please. Throughout this development for 4 or 5 months now, we've worked through 3 separate public hearings. We held a separate community meeting, which was not required, but in response to a lot of community input here. And the next couple of slides, very quickly, just note some concessions and changes that were made in response to the community concerns. Again, we changed the name of the development. They were concerned about that as the adjoining community is also named Aurora Norte, so we changed the name of the development. The density that's proposed here, 12.2 dwelling units per the acre, is significantly below what would be allowed under the existing commercial zoning. Again, we have significantly more open space, both community space, and overall open space than required under the C2 zoning. The colors have been revised to a more soft desert color palette, again, in response to community comments and in compliance with the underlying zoning stipulations. Next slide, please. Again, parking was a consideration. We're providing 275 parking spaces on the development. Only 255 is required. And again, we have already talked about the parks and amenities here that we are exceeding, significantly exceeding what is required under the existing zoning. Next slide, please. Again, traffic has been a concern through comments from the community. We did prepare a traffic analysis of this. There were a few of the comments there on the screen in front of you that were provided. Essentially, the traffic analysis determined that this proposed development will have significantly fewer trips than what would be normally accommodated for a commercial development. No additional street improvements are required, including deceleration lanes or other infrastructure improvements. I would also note that through our work, both with the city and ADOT, the city is not requiring any improvements to Aurora Norte Drive as part of this development. In ADOT, and noting here that we are in very close proximity to ADOT right away, ADOT did not require any sort of traffic analysis or certainly any further improvements to their section of the right of way. Next slide, please. So again, very quickly in context, the nature of this application is different than most applications you hear in this part of your hearing, in that we are not requesting a change in land use. We are an allowed use under the existing C2. When this zoning was approved, residential development was contemplated as part of this based on the stipulations. We're also not requesting any increase in density. As I've noted, we're significantly below what would normally be allowed for residential developments under existing C2 zoning. Through the planning hearing officer hearing, there were a number of findings of fact, again, in front of you, that the scale and intensity of the proposal is very appropriate for this location. It is consistent with the zoning general plan and offers a buffer to the existing residents. Next slide, please.
And thank you. I think we will now turn to Mr. Zimmerman.
Hello?
Hello, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm allotted 10 minutes, is that correct?
We are doing equal time for each side.
I was told I'm allotted 10 minutes prior to this meeting from the meeting planner because I'm the individual who appealed this case. Am I allowed 10 minutes?
Mr. Zimmerman, Mayor, members of council, this is Alan Stevenson. Mr. Zimmerman, in this particular case, they're just doing 5 minutes aside, so...
I was told by staff I would get 10 minutes.
Sir, Bill can have the 5 minutes. The applicant also had 5 minutes as well.
Great. Okay. Well, first of all, I'd like to ask all city council members to turn on their video because I like to get a show of hands with my first question instead of ask each one individually. So can I get everybody to, before my minutes start, can I get everybody to please turn on their camera? Yes or no? Alan, is yes or no?
Mr. Zimmerman, the clock is running.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, I would have liked to have asked council how many members have actually traveled this frontage road, but thanks guys for not turning on your cameras and showing me with a raise of hand if any of you have actually traveled this. So to start, I'm the individual who appealed this. I'd like to let everybody know that I was told by council that I should get with Ann O'Brien in regards to my preparation and request a meeting. 7 weeks ago, I did so. I was put off each week as I called and requested a meeting with Ann O'Brien to go over this, and she is my district representative, and I am in District 1. On June 14th, I was told by Yvette that I would have an answer by June 16th whether I would get a meeting. On June 16th, I got no answer. So on June 17th, I called Ann O'Brien's office. Ann answered. She hung up on me directly and said she did not have any time for me and hung up on me. Then 30 minutes later, Yvette called me to let me know that they would not be having a meeting with me, but they had a meeting with Mr. Alan Stevenson and the developer, but they would not have time for a meeting that was requested 7 weeks prior when I was told that they were 3 to 4 weeks out. So I'd just like everyone on the council to know Ann O'Brien's unwillingness to meet with the individual who appealed. Now, to get down to the facts, we have a lack of infrastructure on this frontage road. I'm requesting stipulations. The stipulation would be that the developer bear the burden of increasing the capacity to 2 lanes each way on an already extremely dangerous one-way each way road. There was a fatality there where a whole family lost their life less than a year ago. There was another bad fatality accident 2.5 weeks ago. If anybody has been looking at the traffic reports, they would see this. So I'm requesting that we get 2 lanes both ways paid for by the developer. I'm also requesting somebody put a stipulation on this development to comply with the dark sky initiative. The reason we should be applying the dark sky initiative and not just shielded lights is because the city of Phoenix annexed this land. It's in between Anthem and New River. New River is a dark sky community. So I hope somebody will please put the stipulation on the developer for a dark sky initiative, 2 lanes, both ways, paid for by the developer from Anthem to New River, all the way. A true traffic study should be required. In 2007, we didn't require a traffic study, but the growth of our city and our county was not what it is today. It is irresponsible to develop this area without having a true traffic study done, not a traffic analysis done by CivTech, paid for by Tom Tate, who has CivTech in his pocket, and I have proof of that. So, what this shows by allowing such high density of 12 units per acre is that the city of Phoenix only cares about a few things. It's not public safety. It's about creating a tax farm. It's about collecting impact fees, selling sewer and water. We lack the infrastructure, and if this development should go forward, then infrastructure improvements should be imperative and should happen first. Developing this area without improving the infrastructure is extremely irresponsible and a death trap waiting to happen. This development also pays into City of Phoenix Fire Department, but utilizes Daisy Mountain Fire Department, which is already stretched very thin in this area. If this development goes forward, there should be a stipulation that it doesn't pay into City of Phoenix Fire, it pays into Daisy Mountain directly, so we can up our resources out here and make sure that our rural area is protected. 170 units on 16 acres, and the developer's telling you guys that there's going to be a lot of room for community areas. Everybody knows that when you pack 12 homes on an acre, there's not much room left for community area. We're offering 275 spaces in this unit. Well, there should be a minimum of 340 drivers. 2 drivers per household at 170 units would equal 340 drivers that we're going to stuff on this already compact death trap of a frontage road. This is.
Thank you. Our final speaker will be Vincent Barbato.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Madam Mayor and council members, thank you so much for your time today. I am Vincent Barbato at 73081 Fred Waring Drive, Palm Desert, California. I am the developer of this community, and I wanted to just thank everybody for their consideration. As David pointed out, we have made every attempt to find the happy median between the municipality, our neighbors, as well as being prudent businessmen. I believe that we've accomplished that goal with this great community. It will become an asset for the city. As David pointed out, we have met or exceeded all of the requirements as set forth by the city. We went above and beyond to get traffic studies done and to provide the open space and all the other requirements. So I hope that everyone can recognize that and vote for approval for our community so that we can get started. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We will close the public hearing. I want to thank Councilwoman O'Brien for her hard work on this, as well as her advocacy to make sure we have great fire service resources to serve the northern part of our city. This is in District 1, so I will turn to Councilwoman O'Brien.
Thank you so much, Mayor. I make a motion to approve the item per the Planning Commission's approval and adopt the related ordinance.
Second.
Mayor.
Any questions or Councilwoman O'Brien?
I do have some comments. So I first would like to say that I did spend 30 minutes with Mr. Zimmerman on the phone shortly after I was sworn into office and took down copious notes so that my office could check into all of his concerns that he relayed to me. In addition, I would like to point out that based on the official form that he submitted to the City of Phoenix, that he is not a City of Phoenix resident. In addition, my Chief of Staff offered to meet with a group of residents from the area that had concerns. We were not given an opportunity to do so. I do want to note also that I've read every single letter and email that was sent into the Rio Vista Village, as well as the village's minutes, to learn more about this case and to understand the concerns from the nearby residents. It's important to note that what the applicant is proposing to develop is allowed by right under the current zoning of the parcel, which was approved by the City Council in August of 2007. The reason this case is coming through for a vote is purely for design stipulations and not a rezoning request of the property. While I understand the legitimate concerns about a possible increase in traffic for the area, that is a much larger discussion that needs to include the Arizona Department of Transportation, as well as the Maricopa County Department of Transportation. With the rapid growth expected to come to the North Phoenix region as a result of the wonderful economic development investments being made by companies such as the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Chip Plant, larger conversations with all stakeholders need to be had about smart development and ensuring our roadways and infrastructure can support what's coming. Over the next coming months, I will work closely with all stakeholders to ensure what's coming in development is a well thought out and planned regional community that other municipalities who will one day experience the same growth as we are can look to for inspiration. I'm thankful to Councilman Waring for the discussions he's been willing to have about what's going on up in North Phoenix region, as well as my many discussions with our Phoenix Fire Department so that I can better understand how the area is covered and how we work with Daisy Mountain both to support them and they work with us to support our area. So with that, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Roll call.
Ansari?
Yes.
DeCiccio?
Yeah.
Guardado? O'Brien?
Yes.
Pastor? I'm sorry, Pastor?
Yes.
Thank you. Stark?
Yes.
Waring? Garcia?
Yes.
Gallego? Passes 8-0.
Continuing with really important work, we go to item 138, a contract extension for First Things First and investments in early childhood. Councilwoman O'Brien.
Move to approve item 138.
We have a second. Councilwoman O'Brien.
Thank you. All of us are aware of the long-range benefits of early childhood education, and it helps young children jumpstart their reading skills, gives them appreciation and motivation to stay in school, and it prepares children for a successful future. Additionally, parents and guardians of young children in early childhood education are provided access to quality childcare, making it easier for parents to return to work. I'm in support of approving an ordinance that allows First Things First to continue the services they provide to our families. I'm pleased to know that the program is preparing for their in-person programming once again in the 4 centers operated by the City of Phoenix. This program is important to many Phoenix families. It's vital to the quality of education for children birth to 5, and it will connect families to other services and resources that can help their young children thrive. So thank you so much, Mayor.
Well said. Additional comments? Roll call.
Ansari,
Yes.
DeCiccio,
Yes.
Guardado, O'Brien,
Yes.
Pastor, Stark,
Yes.
Waring, Garcia,
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Passes 8-0.
That concludes our agendized portion of the meeting. We next move to citizen comment, and I will turn to our city attorney to introduce citizen comment, and then our staff to call our members of the public.
Thank you, Mayor. During citizen comment, members of the public may address the City Council for up to 3 minutes on issues of interest or concern to them. The Arizona Open Meeting Law permits the City Council to listen to the comments, but prohibits council members from discussing or acting on the matters presented.
Our first speaker is James Deibler, followed by Catherine Barrett. James, are you on the line?
Yes. Good afternoon, Mayor Cdbg and council members. Hi, I am James Deibler. I live in Phoenix Council District 5. I would like to address some concerns that have came to my attention. Last week, a fight occurred between the Los Angeles Clippers versus Phoenix Suns fans at the Phoenix Suns Arena in downtown Phoenix. After the basketball game was over, the Clippers fans provoked a fight with Suns fans by using curse words against them. This type of behavior is unacceptable in any sports arena. As a result of the dancers' impulse, it is impossible that we increase security at Phoenix Suns Arena to ensure it doesn't happen again in the future. The Phoenix Suns have the best basketball fans in the world with absolutely no history of violence in the state of Arizona. Not only should the Clippers fans greatly improve their behaviors in public to be a good role model in the NBA, but security must be strengthened so that incidents such as those can be properly controlled. I am proud to be a Phoenix Suns fan in the state of Arizona and look forward to watching many more future games, hopefully under the protection of added security. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Our next speaker is Catherine Barrett, followed by Cody Burkamp. Catherine, are you on the line?
I am on the line. Can you confirm that you hear me, please?
Yes, we can. Thank you. Please proceed.
Perfect. Thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Catherine Barrett. I am an elected precinct committee person for Legislative 28, specifically the Desert Cove neighborhood. As you are well aware, we have been requesting help and assistance from our elected councilwoman, Ms. Deborah Stark. For 6 years, neighbors have sought relief as property 11015 North 11th Place has experienced traumatic times with a house fire and death. There are photos for your review on my social media account and webpage, catherinebarrett.org. Our timeline shows numerous associations with the City Council office have either left, retired, been transferred, as taxpayers sit with no help, no assistance, and no answers. One clerk stated, quote, "We don't have to provide you with any updates," end quote. Another clerk, research assistant analysis, Adriana Gadsden, stated, "I forward your request and concerns. There are only 2 names on this matter." Well, today at approximately 9 a.m., we hear Tony Tate, an inspector for the site, as he stated for 3 years, the city building department continues to renew his permit request. He is a one-man band and cannot physically accomplish what needs to be done. Do we face another 3 years until he can get his act together? This is a direct reflection on the District 3 representation of our neighborhood that is not being taken care of. The lack of concern has been experienced for 15 years and has been demonstrated with repeated calls to Ms. Stark, our elected councilwoman in our neighborhood. And beyond the lack of professional performance by the city to date, no action in completion on the devastating fire that has not been repaired in 6 years since its occurrence. We have packs of coyotes and javelinas that roam the grounds. We need someone with a concern for all in our district, not a selected few. Thank you very much for the time allowed, and muchas gracias.
Our next speaker is Cody Burkamp, followed by Ari Baring-Huber. Cody, are you on the line?
Yes, I'm here. Hi, thank you, Mayor and City Councilors. I'm here today because just yesterday I was forced to, due to the city's ordinance, cut my front yard grass and plants because a single person in my neighborhood had a problem with my letting perfectly harmless and largely beneficial plants simply live peacefully. Now, aside from the blatant security of my own property constitutional concerns, I'd like to focus on the economics and the underlying philosophy of all needs, which is biology. Now, Lake Mead is at its lowest ever. We are in an extreme drought. Our city is the hottest in the U.S. And while reducing of lawns in general is advisable, as they are little more than a noisy waste of space and natural resources, constant mowing, water-intensive fertilizer, herbicides, etc. What I'm really protesting, though, is that I cannot, due to the city's ordinances, let life live naturally on my own property. Now, I have a biology degree, and I could go into the dire concerns of this planet, but in the general sense, vitally important insects like bees, butterflies, ladybugs are in a rapid decline, and one of the largest reasons is habitat loss. Now, when we cut grass, we don't kill it, we weaken it, and in turn, it needs more water and nutrition to heal. Now, when we let grass grow, it creates shade, habitat, and surface area cooling. This not only saves water, but provides much needed relief for not just insects, but also birds and lizards and other amphibians whose population numbers are also in decline. Many of these supposed weeds also produce beautiful flowers that should be respected both for their beauty and as a food source. A city, especially a drought oven like ours, shouldn't be restricting people from doing a more water-conscious, ecologically friendly option for their yards. Under the current legal framework, a dirt or gravel lot is perfectly fine, but I create a habitat that more than just humans can enjoy, and I get fined. Emerson quipped, "What is a weed but a plant whose virtue is not yet understood?" And in Genesis, God said that all of the plants he created were good. God said no such thing about man and its laws. Thank you all. Take care.
Our next speaker is Ari Baring-Huber, followed by Victoria Garley. Ari, are you on the line?
I am indeed. Well, thank you to the City Council for hearing me out. My name is Ari. I have worked at HMS Host for just under 4 months at the Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport as a restaurant host. I'm joining my coworkers in asking that the City Council end HMS Host's relief. The City of Phoenix granted HMS Host a minimum annual guarantee waiver allowing HMS hosts to instead pay a percentage of their sales as rent until December 2021. Unite Here Local 11 estimates that because of the MAG, the minimum annual guarantee waiver, HMS hosts saved approximately $4.7 million in their rent from April 2020 to April 2021 for their 2 contracts at our airport. Enough is enough. We believe that HMS hosts does not need additional relief. Our city already helped HMS hosts throughout the pandemic, and now data from the city demonstrates that Phoenix, PHX Airport, had 1.6 million enplanements in April 2021, 79% of the enplanements of April 2019. As a result of this passenger recovery, Barrio Cafe, where I work, achieved 95% of April 2019 sales in April 2021. But at the same time, frankly, the restaurant is very understaffed. As a restaurant host, I often find myself working 5 to 7 hours a day completely by myself, doing a job which frankly could be described as the job of 2 or 3 people. I have to run the register, I have to answer guest questions, I have to seat them, I have to act as the bouncer when folks try and cut through the line, I have to stock the bunker, I have to, you know, I could go on and on and on, but it's much more than a job for one person. And at the same time, I'm only making $13 an hour doing this, something that guests themselves often say, wow, you know, I hope they're paying you well. So it comes down to, I also got to throw out that we're really understocked. We're constantly running out of the supplies we need to make many of our foods. The bunker, as we call it, where we store the concessions, is constantly running out of sodas and water. And the fact that I am, you know, in my role, forced to rapidly restock this concession stand while doing my other duties means that as soon as it goes from having no waters to a full thing of waters again, I immediately have a second line to buy those items. So, you know, it really is trying for the workers. This expands beyond my position. I mean, the kitchen is rarely staffed with more than 2 or 3 cooks for a job that frankly should have 6 at pre-pandemic levels. And the fact that the company is back to making very similar revenue figures to where it was pre-pandemic, and yet we're still bearing this burden as an understaffed workforce, it's not fair to us. It's unjust, and it hurts. So I'll leave it there. It's time that.
Our next speaker is Victoria Garley, followed by Scott Matos Elliott. Victoria, are you on the line? Victoria is not on the line, so our next speaker is Scott Matos Elliott, followed by April Hernandez. Scott, are you on the line?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you. Please proceed.
All right, hello. My name is Scott Matos Elliott. I've worked for HMS host at Phoenix Harbor Airport for about 2.5 years, first as a club attendant and then as a Starbucks barista, where I was bouncing from between Terminal 3 and Terminal 4, and now I'm stationed at Terminal 4. During this time, and especially over the last few months, I have experienced things that I don't think that any worker should have to experience. I am filing a complaint today with the city's Equal Opportunity Department against hosts. And I am here to tell you all about what I have endured. Customers have been calling me racial and homophobic slurs. This has happened to me on numerous occasions. I have been called homo, faggot, and spick, and a dirty sand nigger multiple times. This is all while trying to do my job. This harassment has been extremely difficult for me, has made me feel dehumanized and disrespected, and it makes it hard to do my job, which I'm being just paid to being a barista and have to deal with bigotry. I have to deal with these customers alone with no support from the management team. I have reported this harassment to my managers multiple times, but I don't feel like they take it seriously enough, and I feel like reporting harassment is pointless to them. I have also experienced discrimination with trying to move up in positions where, with my seniority, I should have been asked first if I wanted to become, if I wanted to be in a higher position. But no, I noticed that a lot of the lighter skinned to white coworkers that have just gotten hired are being asked to be managers and trainers. I feel I like there's a lot of problems where the city council need to take a look at hosts and see actually what's going on, along with broken equipment and non-working ACs, especially since it's getting up into the hundreds now. And then we're not allowed to wear our Black Lives Matter mask, but they'll let us wear any other mask but that one. Like I said, I'm filing a discrimination complaint today against hosts, and I want you to ensure that the city takes this issue at host seriously. The time for nice words is over. It's time for real change. I hope we can count on your support. Thank you.
Our next speaker is April Hernandez, followed by Amber Lynn Zuniga. April, are you on the line? April is not on the line, so our next speaker is Amber Lynn Zuniga, followed by Susan Minato. Amber, are you on the line? Amber is not on the line. Next is Susan Minato, followed by Carmen Quintana. Susan, are you on the line? Susan is not on the line. Next is Carmen Quintana, followed by Lucia Salinas. Carmen, are you on the line?
Carmen, ¿se encuentra en la línea?
Sí.
Muy bien, Carmen, le habla la intérprete. Solo le pido que haga una pausa después de unas 2 oraciones para poder interpretar lo mejor posible. Adelante, Carmen.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Carmen Quintana.
Good afternoon, my name is Carmen Quintana.
Yo he trabajado para HMS durante 33 años.
I worked for HMS for 33 years.
HMS me despidió en marzo del 2020 y lamentablemente hasta hoy no me ha llamado a trabajar.
They let me go in March of 2020, and up until today, they haven't called me back.
A pesar de los 33 años que he trabajado con ellos,
Even though I spent all those 33 years with them.
la ciudad de Phoenix decidió brindar ayuda al concesionario durante la pandemia, extendiéndole más recientemente hasta diciembre del 2021.
The city of Phoenix agreed to offer support to the concessionary during the pandemic up until December of that year.
Donde corporaciones como HMS Host está pagando solo el porcentaje de alquiler.
Que le apoyaron con el alquiler a la compañía, ¿eso que dijo, perdón?
No, en donde la corporación como HMS Host está pagando solo el porcentaje de alquiler.
Where the company is paying all the rent for that, for their stay there.
El personal de la ciudad de Phoenix informó en el informe de la ordenanza que a partir de diciembre de 2020 HMS retiró a 347 empleados.
And according to the reports of the city of Phoenix, the company reported that they let go of 347 employees.
De los 753 empleados prepandémicos de HMS Host, 31% aceptaron una oferta de retiro.
Of the 753 employees, 31% were offered a retirement plan.
Los datos de la ciudad de Phoenix para abril de 2021 muestran casi 1.6 millones de embarques en Sky Harbor.
¿Podría repetir lo que dijo, perdón? No le capté bien.
Dice que los datos de la ciudad de Phoenix para abril de 2021 muestran casi 1.6 millones de embargos en Sky Harbor.
So according to the details of the report, they say that the city of Phoenix took 1.6 million in embargos de, por ejemplo, de que podría elaborar un poquito en cuanto a los embargos.
I think it's emplayments in English. Or like flight.
Embargos se refiere a los embargos de qué específicamente, perdón.
Embarques or flight?
I'm trying to make sense of what she's referring to in regards to this line of business. Is it other businesses around or just this one? I'm trying to connect the dots. ¿A qué se refiere con los embargos? Con ese reporte del 1.6. ¿Se refiere a esta compañía directamente o a los negocios dentro de Sky Harbor?
Son los vuelos de Sky Harbor.
Sí, son como los vuelos de Sky Harbor.
Okay, so so she's referring to the commercial activity in Sky Harbor. ¿Podría proceder?
Sí. Y también yo quiero saber cuándo los empleados a largo plazo como yo van a ser llamados para volver a trabajar.
I would also like to know when is it that the employees that have been there long term are going to be called to go back to work.
Creemos que HMS Post no necesita más ayuda adicional.
We don't believe the company needs additional help.
En cambio, le pedimos al Consejo que intervenga y le solicite a HMS Post que dé testimonio público sobre cómo planea traer de regreso a todos sus empleados. Gracias.
And we would like to ask the City of Phoenix to intervene and ask the company to come forth and speak publicly about their plans to bring their employees back to work. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Lucia Salinas, followed by Victoria Smith. Lucia, are you on the line?
Yes. This is Lucia. Hello.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Hi. Good afternoon. My name is good afternoon, Council and our Mayor. This is Lucia Salinas. I work in Terminal 4. Our business is already up at the airport, but unfortunately, HMS Host is not putting a lot of workers. We are understaffed in our location, and I just believe that not just in my location. I've been working with HMS Host for 20 years, and I work in Terminal 4 at Cabo Shao, and I'm a cook. But right now, I'm doing a three people job. Like Carmen Quintana, I'm doing her job. I'm doing sandwiches for the bunkers when I have to be cooking for our guests. And we need to justify sometimes our time. And we only have one cook doing a lot of tickets, a lot of orders, because they need in our bunkers so we can have sandwiches done. So, and I just feel like HMS Host is not cooperating with us to bring more people like Carmen Quintana and others that are laid off. So the city of Phoenix, I'm not gonna say numbers because all who talk already say the numbers amount the company is making. We know the increase of HMS loans has been grow a lot, but what I feel as a coworker and my other coworkers that we work for HMS loans through the pandemic, on top of we are working 3 jobs, they haven't given us a raise. They haven't called people to work, come back to work, and still there's coworkers getting sick, getting the COVID. So I just feel that our company, it doesn't need more help. Who needs help is us, the workers that run the business here at the Sky Harbor Airport. And we believe the HMO doesn't need additional relief. And we're asking the council to resolve the staffing crisis at our airport and to end with HMS calls relief. Thank you. I don't have much to say.
Our next speaker is Victoria Smith, followed by Beatriz Topete. Victoria, are you on the line? Victoria is not on the line, so our final speaker is Beatriz. Beatriz, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you. Please proceed.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Madam Mayor and members of Phoenix City Council. My name is Beatriz Topete. I am the Arizona Director for Unite Here Local 11. I want to share with you some very troubling information about racial disparities at Host, which are included as allegations in the Scott Matos Elliott's discrimination complaint with the Equal Opportunity Department, which all of you have received a copy. It was sent today. Last February, Unite Here released a report on racial disparities at Host-operated Starbucks at airports across the country. Based on data from between February and October 2019 across 142 HMS Host-operated Starbucks stores in 27 airports across the United States, including Phoenix, the median wage for white baristas was $13 an hour, while the median wage for black baristas was only $11.15 an hour. The median wage for Hispanic Latinos baristas was $12.67. This means that the median pay for black baristas was $1.85 less than for white baristas. Of the survey respondents, 10% said that they'd been denied a promotion while working at HMS Host Starbucks. 48% of those who said they were denied a promotion identified as black or African American, while only 3% identified as white. The same report also found that in multiple airports, including Orlando, Denver, Honolulu, Portland, and Indianapolis, LGBTQ baristas also reported offensive and transphobic comments from managers, harassment regarding their gender expression, and repeated misgendering. We analyzed Host employment data for Sky Harbor for April 2021, the most recent available. We found outrageous racial disparities, with higher paying jobs going disproportionately to white workers and lower paying jobs filled largely by workers of color. According to this data, a white worker at Sky Harbor is 19 times more likely to be a tipped waiter or bartender than a black worker. This is significant because waiters and bartenders generally make more money than other workers due to tips they've received on top of their base pay. Cashiers have a starting hourly rate of $12.15, the lowest possible at the airport, and do not receive tips. 88% of cashiers' positions are held by people of color. Black workers are 5 times more likely than white workers to be cashiers. Utility workers also have starting hourly wage of $12.15, the lowest possible at the airport. Black workers are 3 times more likely than white workers to be in the utility department. Only 22% of Starbucks baristas working at Host-operated sites at Sky Harbor are white. However, Local 11 estimates that about 50% of Starbucks.
Mayor, that was our final public comment.
One moment. Okay. Mayor, that was our final speaker. Thank you for attending the meeting today. The meeting is adjourned.